Hey YouTube, this is That Funny Guy. Yes, that's right, That Funny Guy. And today we're going to be doing a code text discussion on optional code effects that can miss the timing and optional code effects that can't miss the timing. Now today, to demonstrate these different effects, we're going to be using these two guys right here. Black Dragon Collapse Serpent and Light Pulsar Dragon. Now, for Black Dragon Collapse Serpent, his effect is an example of an optional effect that cannot miss the timing. Light Pulsar Dragon's effect is an example of a code effect that is optional and can miss the timing. So here's what that means. If this code is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add one White Dragon Wyvern Boaster from your deck to your hand. Now, I want you to pay attention to the words they use here. Notice how that sentence starts off with the word if. It then says, after saying, if this code is sent from the field to the grave, colon. So, that is the condition. This is a conditional code effect. It can only be activated when it is sent to the grave. So after the colon it says, you can add one White Dragon from your deck to your hand. So, the two words I want you to look at here is, if you can. Now the fact that it says you can means it's an optional code effect. Anything that says you can means it is optional. You don't have to activate it if you don't want to. But here's the part that makes it a code effect that cannot miss the timing. If. The word if, right there. See how it says if? That means this effect cannot miss the timing. It doesn't matter if this card is sent to the grave at chain link 7. It doesn't matter. Once the chain link you're in has fully resolved, then you'll get the option to start a brand new chain link of Collapse Serpent's effect, add the white guy from your deck to your hand. So, that is an optional code effect that cannot miss the timing. It will start off by saying if, it'll then say you can. Optional code effect cannot miss the timing. Now, next up we have Light Pulsar Dragon. His effect right here. It says, when this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, colon. So that is the condition. This effect can only be activated when he is sent from the field to the grave. You can target one level 5 or higher Dark Dragon type monster in your graveyard, special summon that target. So, here's how it works. His effect is optional. We know that because after the colon, it says you can. But here is the difference. His effect can miss the timing. Why? Look right here. When. It starts off with when. The word when is the key difference here. Absolutely every card effect in the game that says when means it can miss the timing. If it says if, that means it can't. So, let's use these in a real-world example. Let's say you had Black Dragon Collapse Serpent. You banish a light monster, special summon him from your hand. Good for you. Let's say you then try and tribute him in order to tribute summon Caius the Shadow Monarch. Fantastic. Because Black Dragon, was sent from the field to the graveyard for that tribute summon, then after Caius has been successfully normal summoned, let's say your opponent doesn't negate it or anything with Solemn Warning, then after that has happened, you would get the option to activate Black Dragon's effect. And specifically how it would work is, Black Dragon would be the first thing to activate, then you could chain Caius's effect to target a card and banish it, resolve the chain. Good for you. You'd still get Black Dragon's effect to add. Now the reason that is because normally the card effect wouldn't be able to go off because the last action is not Black Dragon going to the grave, it's Caius being summoned. But because Black Dragon says if, that's the key factor right there. Because its effect starts with if, then that means its effect cannot miss the timing, meaning that if it is sent to the grave, then even though it's not the last action to occur, Caius summoning is, you're still going to get the effect because it will simply wait until the next legal time it is allowed to activate its effect. So, you would still get your effect to add. Now, look at Light Pulsar Dragon. Let's say you banished a Light and Dark, special summon Light Pulsar from your hand. Let's say you then tried to tribute him to normal summon Caius. Yes, I've had this happen to me before. And yes, people have tried to do the following. After successfully normal summoning Caius by tributing Light Pulsar, they then try to activate Light Pulsar's effect to target a Dark Dragon in their grave and special summon him. This does not work. Reason being, Light Pulsar's effect can miss the timing because its effect starts with when. So, The reason an optional effect like that would miss the timing is because of what I just said before. The last action is not the attributed monster going to the grave. The last action is Caius being normal summoned. So you don't get the option to use Pulsar's effect because it missed the timing for it. That's the difference between an optional card effect that can and cannot miss the timing. If it can miss the timing, in that case of tributing to summon Caius, it will miss it because the last action was normal summoning Caius. But for an effect that can't miss the timing, in the case of Black Dragon being tributed for him, instead of the timing being missed, it will simply wait for the next legal time that it is allowed to activate its effect. And it can't activate it at the moment it's tributed because the tribute of Caius has to go through first. And I would just like to specify right here so no one gets confused. Let's say, for example, you tributed Black Dragon Collapse Serpent to summon Caius. Your opponent uses Solemn Warning or some other effect that would negate a summon. But let's say they use Solemn Warning. Negate the summon, destroy Caius. Hey, guess what? You still get the effect of Black Dragon. Reason being is because the last action, in this case, the first action to occur was tributing. Next action, summon. So Black Dragon can't activate yet. But then, when the monster would be summoned, you use Solemn Warning, negate, and destroy it. So the next legal time, the first legal time, in fact, that Black Dragon would have the option to activate its effect is after Solemn Warning has resolved, and after the summon was successfully negated. Caius falls to the grave. You then get the opportunity to use Black Dragon effect. That's why card effects that can't miss the timing are so deadly, and they're so hard to get around. That's normally why you would try and negate them. In this case, because Black Dragon Collapse Serpent has the ability to add White Dragon Wyver Booster from your deck to your hand, and you can just keep summoning them in an infinite loop, perhaps Divine Wrath that. Maybe. I would. Except I don't run Divine Wrath, because it sucks. So, all of this actually should be fairly easy to get. It's one of those little tricky rulings that they try and mess you up on, but once you figure it out, you'll easily be able to look at a card, and if that has an effect that's optional, and you'll be able to see either when it starts with when or if, meaning it cannot miss the timing or can miss the timing. Should be fairly simple. So, if any of my explanation here has been confusing to you, please look in the description of the video down below. I'm going to include links on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Wikia that will talk about optional effects that can and cannot miss the timing, and they'll probably include examples there as well. The only reason I'm making this video is I know for some people, even like myself, reading something isn't the best way for learning. I'm more of a visual learner. I like to watch someone do something so then I can know how to do it. That's how I learned how to be a duelist. I still highly recommend reading the Yu-Gi-Oh! Instruction manual first, because you're going to have a hell of a time if you don't, hence why I read it. But still, reading can only do so much for you. That's why I like visual aids as well. Also why I included the photographs of the card text himself. So guys, that's optional card effects that can and cannot miss the timing. I've given you examples of both. I hope this was helpful to you. If there's any other videos for card effects or whatnot that you'd like to see, please put a comment in the comment section down below, and then I'll try and make a video of them before. I'm going to try and make a couple of videos a week. For pack openings, I'm going to be having, as I mentioned before, Duelist Alliance. I'm going to be opening 4 booster boxes of that later. But as for videos, I'm going to try and post at least 1 per week. I'm going to be having a bunch going this week simply because I have not only card discussions, but pack openings as well. But as for afterwards, when I don't have any pack openings to do, I'm going to try and do 1 video a week talking about card discussions. So if there's any cards you'd like to hear me talk about, or any questions that you've been confused on, perhaps you've had several different cards come together, and the effects around all of them created a gray area or a loophole that you're not sure how to resolve, please, I ask you, put your comments in the comment section below. I'll read them. I'll pick out a few to make videos out of, doing 1 at a time. Hopefully that'll help. Alright guys, I hope that was helpful. This is That Funny Guy. I'm out of here.